Isn't this crazy? I was just for some strange reason I was just thinking about Rick Scorpio, and I wanted to say shout out to the brother Rick Scorpio. He's a very intelligent brother and very go getting brother, and but I really wanted to piggyback. I will say this. I miss his videos. I really wish he could have a channel back up again because his voice was great. He had really great videos. His voice was needed in this space. And he was one of the early content creators that I wish I recorded all those videos, man, because those videos were great. I remember in particular his one video where he was saying how, to be honest with you, a lot of us black men are probably never going to find love in America. And I would have to say that he is totally right. Well, shall I say black love in America? Because let me tell you a real short story, right? I remember that I myself and my cousin, we went on a genealogy hunt together. She's still doing it, um, and whatnot. I kind of gave up because it is exhausting. I did find some of my relatives. She found a lot of our relatives, but a lot of these records are lost when you are foundational Black American and whatnot. It's hard to find stuff, and then you gotta hire people, and it gets exhausting and time consuming. She still does it once in a while, my black female cousin. I have taken a year break away from it. It gets really exhausting, right? So I remember that I did find some family tree of people that have my very same last name in my area. I was shocked. I didn't know there was anybody else in my area, right? And I remember that I found them online and I sent them a letter, and I was just asking them some basic questions. Would they like to send a letter back to me? They did not even live that far from me. And for some strange reason, they just never responded, right? I was like, wow, okay, whatever. I moved on. And I remember I was at a job back in the, an old job back in the day. This is over 10 years ago. And one of my coworkers were talking to the people that I wrote to. Talk about coincidence. They got into a long conversation, and they were two black women, and they literally were my family members, right? Literally were my family members, right? And I remember he said, wait a minute, your last name is what?" And they said yeah, and they were like, "Wait a minute, I have a guy here that works here." And I met them, and they were like, "Yeah, we got your letter." And I said, "Well, how come you didn't respond?" And they were like, "Oh, I didn't feel like I wanted to respond." And me and my coworker looked at each other like, and I was like, "So you are my family?" And they were like, "Yeah." They were so lukewarm, and it was just like, is there a pulse in black American women? Like, mind you, I wasn't asking them for anything. I wanted to connect with family, and I was literally shocked that I had family in this area. I didn't know that I had family in Western New York, right? And they didn't connect with me. They were so lukewarm, and I said, "Well, it was nice meeting you," and I walked away. And I was like, a lot of black women are just, there's no pulse there. I feel like a lot of them have given up on life. A lot of them have, there's nothing there, man. I can't explain it. Like, they're they're just not there, right? There's no life there. um and interestingly enough, um, every single white woman that has ever crossed my path, I'm not saying I've said yes, but what I'm saying is white women have constantly approached me. See, this was the difference when I left New York City. When I left New York City and I moved to New York State, it was night and day. It was a night and day difference. It literally was, because there were white women hitting on me constantly, and I was shocked because in New York City, that was 91. Back in those days, there wasn't black men and white women mixing like that. I may have remembered maybe one couple that we've known in my area, a black man and a white one. That was it. Back in those days, it wasn't going on like that, and there were people that would literally get assaulted over interracial relations. For those of you who were in your 20s and 30s, this sounds weird to you, but back in the day, I'm here to tell you that walking down the street with a white woman, even in New York City, could get you a beat down. It could. There's certain parts of New York City, them white boys would beat you down. Hell, in certain parts of New York City, if you, as a black man, back in those days, if you were walking down the street with a Puerto Rican woman, they would beat you down. I am not joking. I've seen it happen so many times. Oh, it gets even worse than that. Where a Brooklyn dude walks into a Bronx neighborhood, automatic beat down. A Bronx dude walks into a Brooklyn neighborhood, automatic beat down. When I wanted to visit my cousins in Brooklyn, my cousins had to meet me at the train station because they knew I wasn't from there and they would get me a automatic beat down. I remember I came in Brooklyn, and my cousin was waiting for me right there, and they were like, "Yo, who's that? Who's that? Who's that?" They wanted to fight me immediately. I'm talking about black men. So New York City used to be crazy. I don't know how it is now. I hope it's changed. New York City was crazy, right? So going back to what I was just talking about, yes, there wasn't all this interracial going on back then. There was not. But now it's a whole different a whole different animal. It's a whole different atmosphere. Like I said, when I moved to Western New York, Becky was hitting on me all the time. Becky, I had a Becky recently hit on me. She's really ugly. I had another Becky. She was like 300 pounds hitting on me, and I was just looking at her like, "Could you get the hell out of here?" And she saw my look like, "Oh, he ain't going." Like not all black men want a big fat white girl. I'm not one of those guys, right? But I'm telling you, shout out to Rick Scorpio once again. I don't feel the love here, man. I really don't feel the love. I really do not feel the reciprocation. And like I said, once again, they sit back and they say, well, these black men don't want us. Well, I have shown you love, and I didn't get it back many, many, many times. I mean, mind you, I've been pretty much gave up on black love like 20 years ago, to be honest with you. But like I said, when you hold doors open for them, you don't even get a thank you. It's just, you feel the atmosphere of either pure hatred, or you feel the atmosphere of thank you simp, or thank you sucker, thank you loser, now get the hell out. And it's not even thank you. They won't even acknowledge that you opened the door for them. And one day you wake up and you stop opening doors. I've been stopped doing that. And one day you wake up and you don't speak anymore, right? And that's what the black woman said recently. A lot of people covered that video. Why are you black men not speaking? Because y'all told us to leave you alone a long time ago. They told us to leave them alone. And that's what we did. We left them alone. So it's a sad deal. It is what it is. But, you know, life continues. Thank you, Rick Scorpio, for all your great videos, man. I hope you come back, do something else,